What's up, guys? It's Jay, Morning After Kill, and I'm back here on Grand Theft Auto 5, and this is episode 3 of what used to be called Behind the Wheel, but I have changed the name of this series to Jay's Garage, which is kind of a spoof of Jay Leno's Garage, which is one of my favorite video series on YouTube. So, in this series, what we do is we take a look at the cars from Grand Theft Auto 5, and we see how they stack up to their real-life counterparts that they're actually modeled and based off of. And today, we're taking a look at the muscle car, the Imponte Ruiner. Now, the Imponte Ruiner is based off of an American icon, which is known as the IROC Z, the third generation Camaro, and also the Firebird Trans Am, which a lot of you guys will recognize as Knight Rider. But the exterior of this car actually takes a lot of its styling cues from the Camaro, straight down to the IROC Z style rims, the graphics on the side, and the Z28 grid style taillights, which came on the later models of the Z28. But you can see that the pillars in the back on the glass are a little bit different than how it is in real life, because the real life Camaros and Trans Am have one big giant glass piece back there, unless you happen to get your hands on a notchback Firebird GTA, in which case I hate you because I've wanted one forever. So this right here is basically a Camaro in Grand Theft Auto, and we're going to take a look at the different options that you can get on there. And this one right here is actually probably one of the coolest, because this is the Firebird Trans Am Ram Air hood that you can find on the later model Trans Ams from the 4th generation, 98 to 2002. And even though I don't like this hood on the car in real life, because it is a popular aftermarket modification for 3rd generation Camaros, I do like it in the game because they don't allow me to have a cow induction hood, which actually, in my opinion, looks the best on 3rd generation Camaros. So, taking a look at the spoilers, you have the 80s style Sport Coupe spoiler, we have the 91 to 92 high-rise spoiler, and then we also have the drag wing, which looks just like the Meacham spoilers from the SCCA Firebird Trans Ams that were a special edition back in the 80s and are very rare. And that's a very highly sought after spoiler in real life too. People pay hundreds of dollars for them. But taking a look at this, I love the fact that they got the graphics almost down to a T, because this is something that you would see on an 80s style Camaro. However, taking a look at this car, it's mostly based off of what I would say an 86 or an 87 Camaro. The only reason I say 86 is because it does have the Pontiac style interior with the Pontiac emblems on the headrest, and it also has the digital dash, which you don't really see in a lot of Camaros after 87. I'm pretty sure the GTAs did get that. So what we have here is a Camaro exterior with a Trans Am GTA interior, and we are going to color this Nassau Blue, which is actually my favorite color for 3rd gens. I've wanted one forever. They are impossible to find in this color in real life. One of my buddies actually had a car that looked just like this growing up, and man, I would give anything to get my hands on a car like that. But we're going to go down to the wheels, and we're going to put on the classic torque thrust 5-spoke wheel that you see on probably almost any muscle car out there, because they are the most popular wheels that you will find out there for a Camaro or Trans Am, especially since they are mostly affordable in real life. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this bad boy out on the streets, and we're going to see not only how it does with handling, but we're also going to see how it does on the airstrip compared to last week's, which was the Bugatti, the Adder that's in this game. And that ran the entire airstrip in just under 20 seconds, 100% bone stock. But for those of you guys out there that are Trans Am fans, this is something you could do to make it look like a Recaro Trans Am, which is to take the bottom part, the primary color number 2, the secondary color, and color it bronze, and you will get that look of the early 80s Recaro Trans Am. And that right there is just absolutely motherfucking gorgeous. Although I wish they did put in a bumper that kind of looked like Knight Rider. That would have been cool to have Knight Rider in this game as your actual car. So this car can actually be found anywhere in Center City. I always find them around Pillbox Hill. If you are having trouble finding one of these cars, what you're going to want to do is find one of the other muscle cars in the area, because when you are in a muscle car, it will spawn more and more other style muscle cars around you, and that right there will help you find this car a little bit easier. As you can see, we're getting out of this nice muscle car, and we're gonna go ahead and steal ourselves a third generation Camaro, which is called the Imponte Ruiner. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this car down to the airstrip, and we're gonna see exactly how fast it is 100% bone stock. Alright, that wasn't bad. 22 seconds for the entire airport, which isn't bad. It's only 2 seconds off of what the Bugatti Veyron did, and that right there leads me to believe that this probably has a 350 TPI in there, which would put this right around an 87 when we were trying to pinpoint the year a little bit earlier. So even though this might not be one of the fastest cars in the game, this car is an all-around performer, and it feels just like what you would expect a Camaro from the third generation to feel like on the road. It has a little bit of a loose end, not too loose, but it is certainly recoverable. However, if you do try to take a turn at too high of a speed, you will throw that back end around, and you will do a few spins. But one of my favorite things about this car is that this car goes from the city to the country, back to the city again, and it does it without any type of problems. This car is probably one of my favorite cars for weaving in and out of traffic really fast. So, what we're going to do is now, we have a fully modified Stage 3 engine, and we're going to go ahead and run the airport again. And we also have a turbocharger on there, and this thing is a monster underneath the hood when you get it going. And it runs the entire airport strip in about 20 seconds, 21 seconds, which is right there with the Bugatti Adder that we looked at last week. Even though that was bone stock, this isn't bad for a car that's considered a throwaway car. That's why they call it the Ruiner in this game, because this car was probably one of the most popular cars back when I was in high school, and it was a car that a lot of kids picked up very, very cheap. I picked up my first Camaro for about $700, and it only had 90,000 miles on the odometer, or so we thought, because it could have been flipped. But honestly, back in like 99, nobody was going to flip one of these cars because they weren't worth much, even though they are picking up a lot of value because people like me today want to relive their childhood in the cars that they grew up driving in high school. But like I said, if you usually see a third generation Camaro or Trans Am running around, they usually are beat to shit. And that's most likely why they call it the Ruiner in here, because it was a car that kids just picked up, they drove around, they ruined, they ran these cars into the motherfucking ground. And when you blew the motor, you just yank that 305 out of there and toss in a 350 from any random car that you find in the junkyard, because they are plentiful. So, my name is Jay, more than Afterkill. Make sure you guys rate, comment, subscribe. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you could leave a thumbs up on this video, I would highly appreciate it, because it gives me motivation to make more videos for you motherfuckers that watch my motherfucking videos. I hope I gave you a little bit of good background about this Ruiner and how it stacks up against the third generation Camaro and Trans Am, which, like I said, is one of my favorite cars and holds a very near and dear part of my heart and my life. So, like I said, thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys later.